Still on that month's new tariff hike, that story. The tribute divided as appeal court returns later. Is next. EFCC protests of the economy institution. Some will say at newspaper. Dangote refinery to improve vessel operations. 2 rescued, several trapped in Anambra market building collapse. That's an update of the building collapse in that market. 3 escape dead, structure needs tear impute. And resurface. Regional alliances for economic development or for winning election. Loan. Reaction. Academic staff begins strike to update of that story. In Kwara, 7 APC as headlines and kidnapping. As headlines and kidnapping. Federal government working as a the past before court ruling has not changed. You could primaries. I'm sure that a lot of residents in the state would want to know exactly what is going on. Today, old lady from killing herself after lover she's on it. Right, you're still we won't take a shot. Please don't go away. It is in FM Abuja. Now we be the voice of the people. You don't raise your joy.
News during the week is a complete package of all on the retrospect.
Looking for the Citizen FM.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still newspaper review on Thank you for staying tuned. It's still newspaper review on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Almighty. My guest is already here. Welcome him up before 4 a.m. as usual.
It is shower of
him up before 4 a.m. as usual.
It is shower of blessings.
It's to business, and we start with the Punch newspaper. Federal government. So this is how the stabilization and advancement plan, which seeks to inject 2 trillion naira into the economy in the next 6 months. President Bola Tinubu has said his administration is determined to, in the next few months, increase crude oil production to 2 million barrels per day and generate more electricity for Nigeria. He described Nigeria's current power generation and crude oil production as shameful. The member Presidential Economic Coordination Council at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. Thursday's inauguration comes 3 months after the president. The government is ready for business now.
You know, one thing I always say is that take decision. Whether we like it or not, there is upside dark now. But I always believe that after this darkness comes the glorious dawn. The government knows that there is problem and they are faced with the economy because there is, and of course, just like Mr. President said that it feels action shall be judged by intentions. Look at the 31 committee just inaugurated yesterday. I am not there because I am not part of the real people you can call the Nigerians who control the economy. Those who are there are those who should be there. And those are...
It's not likely to give you anything better.
That's right. Dangote is there. Otedola is there. Our young man, Abdulkadir Aliu of Matrix Oil, among many others. These are the people who, that's an ambitious one.
All right, thank you so much. You can be part of this discussion. The lines are open already, 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. Don't forget, you can also send us a WhatsApp message, your message. It's still newspaper review on Citizen 93.7 FM here in Abuja. This is Salami from the economy. Let's move to some politics. Edo APC jubilates. PDP urges calm as court nullifies nullified the February 22, 2024 governorship primary of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State, which produced Aswai Gidalo as the party's candidate for the September 21 governorship election. While the opposition All Progressives Congress jubilated over the court's decision, the PDP called for calm among its members, expressing confidence that the judgment would be overturned at the Court of Appeal. And let's look at the justice impaneled by the trio of Calvin Mohammed, Gabriel Okodwa, and Edeharo Sagi on behalf of themselves among 378 delegates across 12 local government areas and 127 wards of the state. Mr. Salami, what is your take on this?
Well, you see, politicians are funny people. Very, very funny people. And you could see that just as the Minister of FCT, his favorite son, in the pain them, in the sweet us. As in the sweet us, in the pain them. APC is rejoicing that it happened. And the PDP is saying, don't worry, it will be overturned. But the point is, in accordance with the lay party, if you do that, the court has nothing to say other than to ensure that the rules you drew up for yourself, that the court, the High Court in Benin, has ruled that the PDP did not do the needful. So it is left for people, but then it promises to be an interesting episode.
All right, Mr. Salami, just like you insinuated, or you didn't dwell on it, this also brings to fore the adherence to party rules. And it's a recurring decimal. Before any primaries, before any election, we go through this route every day. The general elections are coming in 2 days are held only for the court to now decide. Some people will counter when people are supposed to do court. To conduct your primaries yourself, the Court of Appeal will say, I don't know what the Supreme Court will say, but do the needful during the primaries. For how long can we travel these routes?
For as long as we allow arbitrariness. And the rule of man is the rule of thumb and not the rule of law. And the court will always insist.
Stories on politics to take on, but let's just pause politics for now and take on this story because it's just coming in. It's sort of a breaking story from the Punch newspaper. It says NCAA suspends licenses of 10 private jet operators. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has suspended 10 private jet operations over failure to begin the recertification process. This is contained in a statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, forbids holders of permits or mails for hire or rewards as a result of this flagrant disregard of the rule. The NCAA has earlier directed all the holders of the license to undergo re-evaluation, which should have been concluded. Warning earlier, in fact, he has spoken consistently in the last couple of weeks against it, and now the hammer has been used.
You see, I always insist that we should do the right thing. Did you see the word? Flagrant disregard of rules and regulations. Do you know that it is even more important that we follow the rules in the aviation industry? There's no parking space in the sky. There's no parking space in the sky. And we all know God forbid, we all know the consequence of not following the rules. That's why we should thank this team on doing the right thing. And of course, some days ago, the Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, some of these private jets, they were used for commercial purposes.
And some were even used for laundering and carrying drugs and stuff.
Look, man who doesn't book, we should leave a sigh of relief. Honestly, I can't think a citizen that we will not go all out because we want to be critical. No. And when there is a need to appreciate, we will not progress in the aviation industry. For realizing that life is sacrosanct. For realizing that it is a sector that knows of any mistake in the aviation industry. Safe trip to all the flyers.
Yes, and we should also urge the minister to take a step further, because he should also take a look at the internal workings of that industry. These things thrived because people permitted it. People who were supposed to put their foot down looked the other way, deliberately or otherwise. So people like that should be eased out doings.
No consequence.
No consequences. So another person comes in, people will be scared to take certain decisions because they know that they stand the risk of forfeiting everything they've worked for over the years.
That must not be betrayed.
All right, Mr. Salami just came in from the Punch. So back to politics, legal matters. The Court of Appeal yesterday delivered another judgment that has been trending. APC divided as Appeal Court returns pro-Wike lawmakers to Assembly. The Court of Appeal 24 by the River State High Court, the River State House of Assembly. The court loyal to ex-Rivers Governor in the name of the River State House of Assembly. The three-man panel led by Justice Jimmy Bada in its judgment upheld the appeal by... the River State, we are looking while the appellate court, let's see. The publicity former governor of River State in a statement said the judgment did not change the fact that the 25 pro-Wike lawmakers defected in the suit to respect the rule of law and approach the Supreme Court if they deem it necessary. So then the disagreements pointed out by the Punch newspaper is internal struggle for the soul of the APC in River State, the Amici faction, and in the eyes of the law, these 25 lawmakers are members of the House of Assembly. And there's nothing anyone can do except go upstairs.
You see, legal matters are sui generis, as lawyers will say. It's a peculiar one. The House divided against itself. I doubt if it will stand. Ordinarily, the APC should be happy.
As a body, as a party,
that the judgment is in their favor, I think. But the party is now saying that, it does not change anything in its capacity as
what? As a justice of the Supreme Court. All right, because one thing we are certain is that we'll be day and night. All right, but that reminds me of the work session in the Supreme Court in one of those days when I was still a judicial reporter, and when we had the indefatigable Gani Fahimi, and in one of his pleadings, he was addressing the Supreme Court then headed by Justice Mohammed Owais, who was the Chief Justice. And he said, my Lord, this Supreme Court is female, and I will remain a female in the eyes of
the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and indeed the Supreme Court of any country. Inimitable Justice Oputa put it so simply when he said that we are final not because we are Can you remember that?
I forgot it. Yeah,
not because we are infallible.
Infallible, yes.
But we are infallible because we are final.
And back to, let's leave politics for now and go to education. Federal government inaugurates governing councils of tertiary institutions. I know Mr. Salami will say at last. The federal government on Thursday inaugurated the newly appointed chairmen and members of the governing councils of universities, polytechnics and colleges of education with a charge to attract funding to the institutions. Minister of Education, Professor Tai Maman, inaugurated members of the governing council for the federal institutions approved. This is coming after the controversy that led to the announcement of the composition, which at the point the president halted and called for a review. And before this inauguration, a lot of talking points. What do you say about this?
Yeah, honestly, you know, when the first list came out and it was altered when some anomalies were discovered, I said there is the need for us to understand the meaning of governing council of higher institutions. And I beg to disagree with the Honorable Minister of Education that they should see how they will attract funding to the tertiary institutions. Should that be the primary aim? Should that? Yes, I am not saying that funding is not important. Very important. But I think that the composition of the governing council of any higher institution should be such that we challenge those the citadel, the ivory towers, to do what of knowledge
and
ideas. The incubator of implementable ideas, solution the country. But then when the charge is attract funding to the tertiary institution, that should not be the primary aim.
No, well, maybe the minister means among other things.
I want to believe so. But he should have said so.
Yes, Mr. Even attracting funding, the council should also, if not for anything, insist, each council to insist that under no circumstances should, so among other things they are doing, but make sure that whatever happens, before it gets to a point where workers were down to, you must intervene.
That's
as a council.
That is
and reach out to it at the end of the day. Well, this is wishing members of the council, a very
successful tenure.
Yes, same with what they do with this opportunity, because Alauti Bazaar is not an opportunity for an impact, so that those young boys and anyone their courses will know that yes, we have administrators who take charge of the daily administration of the school.
Realizing that it is the future of these people, our young ones, that is at stake.
Exactly. Well, I still newspaper review on Citizen, and as we see, the number is 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. You can send us a WhatsApp message and let us know where your Chief Operating Officer, Citizen 93. Senate to probe $5.7 billion Mambila power contract. The Senate has resolved to probe the $5.79 billion Mambila hide-and-look steps taken since 1999 till date to execute the project. Plans to deliver 3 years after the Federal Ministry of Power signed a full contract with a consortium in 2017. Amid Nigeria's current electricity supply challenges, Senators said on Thursday that the Mambila plans could have, Mr. Sarani, sometimes these things are tiring. When you hear of decision to probe, this Mambila power contract has been on and off the public initiated.
You know, Lawrence, the more you look, it appears the less you see. Nigerians are involved in this. And in any case, who again will be involved? Who not? We will not mention names here because the court has not
convicted them.
Found anybody guilty. So, result of money that is unsettling, if not outright sickening. Well, and this is a project that ordinarily should have or would have added more megawatts. Good policies, good programs, quite some to grease their palms, quote and unquote.
Because they know there will be no concurrence to the young ones.
Lawrence, this is a crisis. There is no. You respect people because they are trusted and they have been trusted.
What, Mr. Salami, why that is important, we should also make sure that the system is operated in such a way that it encourages hard work, it rewards competence, it makes sure that people are able to damn the consequences because they had to look at principle. Am I going to feel living legitimately? Who's going to?
Criminal, I always say that things are not going right, especially our reward system. But even at that, you realize what happened yesterday. He did that money badly. Was one who called my attention to it. That is integrity. That is honesty. It is something I agree. And the drive to adhere to
3 years salary.
That is not right.
It is not, but when a man finds himself in such a situation, he has a family to feed. He will be tempted, and if somebody comes and says, okay, bring this file and take 20,000, 30,000 naira, some people will jump at it, bearing the fact that this reality on ground is bleak.
Alright, we are on here.
I know. Alright, so let's leave it in proper perspective. The government also needs to encourage
criminals out of people.
Exactly. Alright, there's this story that caught my fancy from the Guardian newspaper, Mrs. Salami. Jam story is long, but let me just pick a few bullet points for you, Mrs. Salami. Out of 44,866 applicants in 2023, 1,957 had forged certificates. Only 6 had genuine papers in 148 applicants in the Bayero University, Kano. 79 out of 82 institutions yet to comply with JAMB's verification directive, and so on and so on.
Telling you that we have to be more patriotic and we have to place more emphasis on honesty as policy. When we are growing up, they told us honesty is the best policy. It may not pay. It may seem as if it's not paying. It may seem initially. But at the end of the day, there are no two ways to it. Honesty is still the best policy. A situation whereby at that age, because somebody who is just advancing or going into a tertiary institution is in adult.
And sometimes with the aid of their parents.
Most times, not sometimes, most times. With the aid of the parents. Then the kind of graduate that person will become is better imagined. Thank God that we have somebody in the mood of somebody like Professor Ishaq Oluide in JAMB. The man is helping this country to sanitize the value crisis we have gotten into. And of course, it's uncompromising. Lawrence, the saddening aspect of it is that this ungodly
who be the next Prime Minister, promising cheering supporters of the slogan. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak conceded defeat to the opposition Labour Party. Mr. Salami, a lot of people saw this coming.
Of course, even in the newsroom we said it. But there is this the UK electorate to reject the Conservative and vote Labour. So Obi made it happen. I say yes. It's true.
Yes, okay. As you say, we are radio. So we leave it at that. Well, I think it's Peter Obi and the Labour Party, they deserve to have their day. They have the bragging right. They belong to the Labour Party. And I even saw a statement from the chairman of the Labour Party 2 days before the election, urging the Labour Party in UK to go on to victory. That's what politics is all about. And I'm always impressed when an election ends in a seamless manner.
Of course.
Even before the end of counting, someone has considered.
Sonas knew what was happening.
Exactly. I mean,
I pray we get there one day. When
we can't do this. It's not as if it's so strange to us. It happened in 2015.
After Jonathan did it.
He did it. It happened in 2015. So it's not rocket science. It's just that when the stakes are too high for some people and they believe that no, I can't let this go.
I'm saying it that the president, President Buhari, we have decent Nigerians, and in fact, we are decent people.
Exactly. All right, before we wrap it up, let's go back to this story on flood. 21 local governments in 10 states, FCT submerged in flood. This according to the federal government. The FG yesterday said that no fewer than 21 local government areas in 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory have been submerged by flood as a result of it. Disclosed this along with Minister of State for Water Resources at the briefing in Abuja, said some states have started experiencing varying levels of flooding and its associated disasters in April 2024. Mr. Salami, this was another thing that we saw coming. The handwriting was there all over. NUMET was telling us to be careful, and a lot of government agencies sent in warnings before this.
Do you know that water will always find
its level?
If 10 states are already flooded and 21 at risk, then you know that there is need for us to buckle up and allow water to find its level. Habits. Waterways. And you see, NIMET has been warning us. At least I know that for quite some time now, NIMET has been giving update periodically on how it will turn out. And I've been saying it, that for as long as we refuse to do the right thing, nature will not compromise.
Exactly. That's it. Mr. Salama, I think we have to leave it at that. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. It's a Friday elsewhere in the world. Well, that's our package on Inside today. Thank you so much, Salman Salami, for your inputs. Thank you so much, sir. Return on Monday.